Hey everyone, welcome back to Rob's Car World. My name is Rob Lofaris. News, satire, and some car finds. I found a beautiful 1964 Pontiac GTO. It's a 389 tri-power original car, and it's something to look at. So let's go check it out on Facebook Marketplace. This car needs no introduction. The car is beautiful. It's a 1964 GTO. It's a beautiful gold color exterior, black interior. The seller states the car has got 66,000 miles. It's an original 389 tri-power. It's got the rare M21 four-speed transmission, the safety track, rear differential, which was standard. I think that was standard with the 389 tri-power package. Has power steering. It's got manual brakes. He says it's a nice car, runs really nice, clean title, no trades. If it's listed, it's still for sale. And the car was listed a week ago, so I'm thinking the car is still around. He only gives us 4 photos, and it's kind of sad when people don't provide more details about the car, So I'd like to see more things about the car, but, when you only see 4 photos, and the first thing you notice is that the photographs are not current, right? So this is not winter or fall of 2024. This is these photos are older. So one of the first things I like to do is just do a search this image with Google, but I won't do that right now. But keep the video short. You can search the image with Google, and you can see if it shows up on Bring a Trailer and things like that. But the car looks really nice. He says here that it's Pontiac Historical Society documented. So, they didn't have the numbers match in the way of build sequence on these cars. The VIN does not have a stamping on the engines back then. But when there's a build sequence, when the car was actually produced and the engine came into the factory and the tri-power came into the factory and all that. So the building of the components of the car in sequence to when the VIN of the car was actually built is how these cars are documented. And the PHS documentation is something that people look for, especially when you're spending $44,000 on a car. So with only 4 photos to look at, it's very hard to really take away the condition of this car. So just looking at this car quickly, he provides this one profile head-on shot, right side, look of the car. Car looks nice, looks like it's straight, looks like the front fenders and the clip, all that hasn't been replaced. I mean, everything looks nice. The door panels have the seams look nice, the windows look good. It's a hard top, it's not a post. They made this car in a post and they made it in a hard top and they made it in a convertible. I think in 64 they had a convertible as well. The tri-power, of course, was an add-on. It wasn't that much money to add on a tri-power, but back then, it was a $150 option, something like that. And there's that same side of the car that's being protected by the fence. So we're not seeing the driver's side, but the rear quarter panels are fairly large on this car, and they're prone for rusting here on the set in the quarter panels here, depending where this car was born and where it was stored and things like that. But overall, this car looks to be a very nicely restored on the outside, car to consider. So we don't see anything else from any other photos of this car on the exterior. So that's kind of sad. On the inside of the car, I'm not sure that the dashboard was brown with black interior, so maybe that dashboard was changed, the dash pad was changed, but it is possible. Could have been brown. I'm not sure. The seats don't come across as being fully restored. They look a little tired, but it might just be the shine from the glass in the window. He may have rechanged these seats. The center console looks original for its time. It hasn't been. So the inside of the car doesn't look like it's been restored, but it's operational and it's really nice. And I'm being very picky because he's asking $44,000 for the car, but he's got the right stuff when it comes to the powertrain. Oh, you can see the rubber stripping here on around the window here is cracked. So this kind of tells me that the car has aged a bit. So they did a nice job on the exterior restoration, but the rubber strippings and the inside of the car and get into the engine bay, it does look a little tired, right? So this is an original looking engine bay. The engine almost looks like maybe it was never taken out of the car which in a way, in that self, it's not a bad thing too, because you know what you got, the originality, so to speak. The radiator looks like an original radiator for its time. The shroud looks original and such. He's got a chrome alternator on it. These valve covers are not, original valve covers that you put on the car. But back when this car was new, somebody would come. They put chrome valve covers on the car because it was cool, So they go to J.C. Whitney and they buy chrome valve covers. It's got the original master cylinder, one circuit master cylinder, no power brakes. Today's day, folks, I would never drive a car like this in the streets with a single master cylinder. So most enthusiasts that sell cars in this $44,000 range, you'll see a power booster and you'll see a twin circuit braking system, and you'll see front disc brakes and things like that. So at the price level that he's at right now, those things that are missing, and the engine bay looks to be original-ish. And, we don't know, these carburetors might have to be totally rebuilt, and the engine might have to be totally rebuilt by now. So I'm thinking mechanically the restoration hasn't been done, which leads me to believe, the suspension, the tie rods, the bushings that hold the frame onto the car and all that might all be a little dry rotted. But I'm only surmising that from this one photo of the engine bay. I'm just guessing at this point. You have to look at the car. But other than that, it's a shame that he doesn't get more photos, which always leads me to believe that, he's kind of like, I don't know if he's hiding anything. I'm sure he's a legitimate seller. He's been on Facebook since 2009 and all. But I just wish that he gave us more information. The gauges that you see here was kind of cool. I don't know if the gauge on the center console was standard equipment back then. I think the gauge for the Tri-Power was actually in the dashboard. So it may have been a factory option or dealer installed option back then, because in 65 and 66 I think you can get the gauge here, but I could be wrong. I'm not a total expert on GTOs. I've owned 4 of them, but I'm not a total expert on these cars. Anyway, nice car. I think it's something that if you're in the market to check out, hang out and go look at this car if you're locally to that New Jersey market. I looked at Bring a Trailer and where the prices of these things are, and they're all over the place. $39,000 is doable. $45,000 is doable. $41,000 for a Tri-Power 4-speed. This was a convertible. Convertibles tend to give a little bit more money on these cars. We're seeing that gap closing down a little bit. Here's a 64 Pontiac GTO Coupe, 6-speed. I guess he put a new transmission in. There are some cars here that here's one that somebody sold for $86,000 during COVID. Somebody went for their lungs on COVID, literally. Hardtop Tri-Power 4-speed. It looks like a prestigious car. Look at it real quick. Yeah, this is a Barrett Jackson type car. Look at that interior. My God. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Yeah, it's probably worth. See, that's the steering wheel that I'm accustomed to. So that steering wheel that is on this car here, let's look at that photo of the interior. You see that steering wheel with the holes in it. This appears to be like a J.C. Whitney type steering wheel. This is the original steering wheel that you find on the GTO. And there's the gauges. The gauge is right here in the panel. So this is what you get when you pay $86,000. You get a perfect car. So yeah, and here's that power booster. Remember I was telling you about the dual circuit power booster. This is what people would do. They wouldn't sell a car. They wouldn't drive a car with just an original single circuit power booster. But yeah, I mean, Bring a Trailer has prices $40,000, $39,000 for Tri-Powers and all that. This car here in particular, I think, is overpriced, but it's not a car I want to overlook. So sometimes when cars are overpriced, I still hunt them down. I still look at them and talk to them and try to get a deal and tear it apart a little bit, because I'm a willing buyer with cash. He's not going to find too many people like me coming down looking at this car right now. And if I can make a case for $32,000 and not have an argument with the man, maybe I bring this home for $35,000, $36,000. It might be worth it. But again, you got to get into the math and you got to get into the actual car and get underneath it and all. But a real beautiful car. And because it's the original engine, and because it's a Tri-Power, and because it's the first generation of the first model year of the GTO, it has a lot of likability and all. I tend to like the 65 better, to be honest. I owned one of them. I like the stacked headlights better, but it's really basically the the same car. And that's it. So thank you very much for joining me here at Rob's Car World. Hope you enjoyed this pick we had. If you like this channel, please give us a thumbs up, and please subscribe to this channel as well. We'd like to do some live feed and have some fun with questions and answers. So thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you again real soon on Rob's Car World. See you here. Thanks.